Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game podcast by two guys. No, I missed a word. That felt wrong.
A comedy game podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy.
Let me start it over. Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hoop-de-doo.
Hoop-de-doo indeed. Now, before we start, Trevor,
yes, you have an apology to make.
I do have an apology to make. So last episode, which for those following along, you might realise we recorded about 10 minutes ago, I did mention a poem by Banjo Patterson about a dog with a dynamite in its mouth.
It wasn't Banjo Patterson.
It was not Banjo Patterson. It was Banjo Patterson's bitter rival, Henry Lawson.
Now, we know why Banjo Patterson didn't write that, because he's allergic to dynamite.
Exactly. It would have been
that is a true thing. Well, it would have been foolhardy to let his
and in fact, I
biggest weakness.
I believe Henry Lawson specifically wrote that to taunt Banjo Patterson,
exactly,
knowing full well
that he was allergic,
his dynamite allergy. So, I do apologise to the estate of and ghost of Banjo Patterson for misattributing that story.
He actually came to me in our short break, and he said we must do to appease him. What 3 words? So we're going to do that as like, you know, appeasement to the ghost,
to Banjo, yeah, to the holy ghost of Banjo Patterson.
So he doesn't haunt our podcast much more than he already has.
What 3 words is a site that has split the Earth up into 3 meter by 3 meter squares, and assign each of them 3 words. And we use that random spreading of words to come up with a prompt to make game designs from.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that right now. Trevor, what 3 words?
Veranda, misunderstanding, charged.
Okay. So, I mean, the first thing my mind went to is not very interesting as a game, which was that someone somehow got charged for building a veranda that was not that was too big or something. There was a misunderstanding about what they were actually able to build.
Okay, what if we took the idea of there's a veranda, there was a misunderstanding in when it was built, and it is literally being connected up to electricity, and it's literally it's charged.
It's a charged veranda.
Yeah.
Okay. And no one can unhook it.
It's a deadly veranda. Okay.
Maybe this is a neighbour feud.
Yes.
So maybe it's actually been done intentionally as
due
like
to
an escalation.
Your neighbour, you know, after looking at a celestial event, you decide to get back at them by charging the veranda. Statically charged.
So you've charged their veranda.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's not lethal.
Oh no, you really went to ham on that wool carpet. Really built up a good charge.
Right.
And you've just loaded it into this veranda.
Into the veranda. So when they step out,
if
they're going to get a zap.
If they're holding their phone, that phone is fucked.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is the general game then about pranking your neighbour in some way back and forth? Like, is this a feud then that is continuing back and forth between these neighbours?
Yes. It's a match 3 game. And the way that you charge, their veranda.
It's just about charging verandas.
The way you charge their verandas is by getting like multiple fast matches, because each match is like another rub of the carpet.
Up the step. There's only 2 colours in this match 3.
Ooh.
Just to make it faster matching.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. So it's sometimes strategic, because if you get more dropping down and exploding, you're actually going to, build up that charge a lot faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the idea is, in fact, there's a continuous video running, and you've got to try and, like, as they're reaching for like the veranda, that's when you want a lot of
Right, so you're trying to time your matches
against the video
with a view of, like, you've got a camera in their house that you planted to see when they're going to go out on the veranda, because the charge doesn't last very long.
No, it's full motion video, and it's
full motion video.
The reason why it doesn't last very long is because the veranda's grounded, like it's touching ground, so therefore it's grounded. Like the charge only lasts for a very short amount of time.
Right, it has to basically be instant as they step onto the veranda. You charge it up.
Yeah,
it's actually a very roundabout way of like you have to be right there charging it up. You're literally outside on the veranda charging it up. You could just touch them.
You could,
rather than giving the veranda a
close
touch.
enough. You know,
right?
Anytime you get close
from that big old misunderstanding,
they all of a sudden bring a rake out of nowhere, and then you've been held back by a rake.
Right? Yeah, it cuts to that pre-recorded full motion video scene of you being held back by a rake.
Yeah. And not one of those plastic rakes either. This is one of those metal spiky rakes.
Yeah. The flat top.
Yeah. Not a leaf rake. This is an actual, fuck up your ground rake. Yeah. That's what they call it.
So this is essential. Yeah.
That's the name of the rake. Fuck up your ground.
Yeah.
You got leafy rake and fuck up your ground.
The Fugies.
Yeah.
FUIG rake.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fugie rake. Bunnings sells them.
Fuck up ground, you.
Well, no, I said FUYG. It's just you take some, you take some, leeway with the pronunciation.
Yeah, sorry.
They're critical of me. So basically, this is it's like Dragon's Lair, but the actions you're taking are in match 3 form.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of cutting between these different FMV scenes.
Yeah, it's an arcade game, so it's only playable in the arcades. Because you need that big screen. Like this is no toilet game. It's a touchscreen game though, so so you can actually.
Does it? A touchscreen game in the arcade feels wrong.
It does, doesn't it?
Because just the number of hands touching.
It's a thing.
Yeah, I guess it must be.
I'm pretty sure that there's actually a piano tiles bloody game that you actually push the fucking screen.
Yeah, that feels wrong. They should provide wipes for that.
And you're licking your hand.
Given that it's an arcade game, though, I feel like there needs to be a version where you're actually rubbing on a piece of carpet.
Yes. In fact, that's the only way. Like it's capacitive touch, but you have to charge the capacitor.
You have to charge up for each touch by rubbing on the carpet. All right, that's pretty good. All right, what 3 words? I'm going to give you 3 words.
What 3 words, Ben?
Uncommonly teardrop negativism.
No, wow. I would literally hate to be saying that to an ambulance if I needed them.
Because negativism.
Like, how do you spell negativism? Even though we haven't really explained it, the reason for what 3 words is so that you can actually say to your...
Oh, I see what you're getting at. I'd forgotten. Yes. It's a way to give your location
within 3 meters to an ambulance, like that.
Yeah, that's to an ambulance or emergency services. Yes.
So uncommon teardrop negativism.
Yeah. So for those living in the ocean in the sea near Finland, in the White Sea.
Yep, you're
fucked.
The amount of times that you find these 3 meter chunks in the sea, like veranda misunderstanding charged, was actually off the coast of New Zealand by about a good, probably a little bit further than what it is from Hobart to New Zealand.
Okay.
So,
Pretty far.
yeah.
Uncommonly teardrop negativism.
Oh, so I do like the idea of when I think teardrop, I think something dropping from a rather high
A
height.
liquid dropping from a height. Something
Yes.
viscous, anyway.
Something viscous. Ooh, what's an uncommon liquid? Honey.
I was going to go with honey. But then I thought it's not that uncommon. But yeah, honey.
Okay. What's negative about honey?
Ants.
Yes.
You're stealing it from bees.
It's sticky.
Is it dripping from... It's sticky. Is it dripping from bees? Flying above. Is that why it's falling?
Ooh, massive bees. Like, we're talking
created like floating beehives in the
ginormous
sky.
bees.
Okay.
And that's got a massive negative in it, in the fact that if the bees catch you even touching their honey...
Oh, yeah.
You're
They can impale you through the chest.
And because, there's
then they'll
nothing
die.
Well, no, they don't, because...
Oh, these ones...
Well, the reason why...
Oh, because the barbs are too...
The barbs are too big. They
don't
rip
actually
you in half. Like, they don't...
Right.
You're much less tensile strength than
It's like if a bee were to attack like an ant, a tiny ant or something.
Yeah. Like, the only reason why bees, rip in half is because, the barb catches
they pull away from it and,
it catches into our skin and they can't rip the hole in the skin, so their body rips in half. But in this case, they rip us in half and they're still fine because they're so big.
Okay. So we have bee overlords.
Yes. The RBA.
The Reserve Bees of Australia. Are we some...
It's just an allegory for the shit they're putting us in right now.
They're raising the honey rates.
Exactly.
Are we some sort of like honey smugglers or something then? Are we trying to get in and steal this honey?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, and it's very, it's very, very dangerous. To actually do this, because
there's a lot of these fucking bees.
Yeah, and like they've
basically made the Earth a beehive.
Wow. Yeah,
are they space bees?
Space bees.
Ooh, like they've come to Earth and made it into a hive.
Or are all bees space bees?
I mean, depends where you want to define the barrier to space. You could put it, if you define it as really low to the ground, then maybe they are.
Wow. Yep.
Shower thoughts.
Oh yeah.
No, I just wonder, are they going between, are they just around Earth, or have they come here from somewhere else? And they're essentially like, they go off hunting out into the solar system for whatever the pollen is that they need. That's not actually flower pollen. And then they come back and make their honey.
Yeah, I really like that.
And then you're a human. There's still humans left on this earth. But they're now having to deal with, there's all these like big honeycombed sections of the land. Mm-hmm. Just acres and acres of hexagonal holes into the earth.
Wow.
That these bees are like creating their honey in.
Well, it turns out that the center of Earth is actually a massive hive.
Right, they're filling it with honey now.
It's always been filled with honey.
Oh, it's always been honey. Oh, maybe they dug up from underneath the ground rather than came in.
Yes.
They've been in there like growing in the honeyed center, the sweet center of the planet Earth.
Yes.
That's cool.
In fact, if it wasn't for them, it turns out that like they came to save us from like intergalactic planet crackers. They were trying to crack it open and get it gooey inside.
Get the sweet juicy center. Yeah.
And the bees kind of saved us
Fought
from
them
that.
off.
But then they realized that we'd kind of fucked over their descendants. And so they decided to enslave us.
Right, all the
instead.
bees were
Yep.
dying. Yeah, so now they've just enslaved us. Right. Okay, that's cool. I'm picturing this as a bit of a... Sorry, I wasn't trying to be dismissive. I was being serious. Because I'm kind of picturing this as like a bit of an action adventure-y kind of thing where I think early on, like, you can't take on the bees. You're having to hide from them. You're sneaking around.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But I think maybe you come across like some warrior who's like, he's figured out how to take him down. Like he's got the skills and he teaches you.
He's decked out all in yellow and black.
Yeah.
And
Covers himself in honey to like mask his scent.
wow. He loves being sticky. He's a nasty man.
He's a nasty man, but teaches you the ways of the nasty man.
Yeah.
Bee killer.
Yeah.
Nasty man bee killer.
That's the name of the episode, I think. Nasty Man Bee Killer.
Nasty man bee killer. And so, because then I'm picturing you've got some like desperate fights against these massive bees where you're like stabbing into them and clinging onto the side of their, carapace. They don't have a carapace. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Doesn't matter. Abdomen.
Abdomen, yeah.
They have abdomens.
Thorax?
As thorax, yeah. Thorax. Six thoraxes.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, 3, 2, 1. What 3 words?
Yeah. 3, 2 words. 1, 3.
Telecom Justices. Halogen.
Telecom Justices.
Yep.
Halogen. Halogen.
I love the idea of, the Telecom Justices that,
Right.
That's why I said it in that weird way, because those two words, they go together so nicely. This is a world that has just got telecommunications, and they
and
realize
these people listen in on all of them and judge.
exactly. So these are the secret justices of the world. They they decide, whether someone's been naughty or nice.
Okay.
And Halogen comes in the point of view of I don't give a fuck, because Telecom Justices, it's just opened my mind to a secret
They have
society
a light.
There's just a light in their office.
Well, I like this because I love and we've sort of done some stuff with this before, but like plugging switches into a switchboard and connecting things up. I think that could play a part in it.
Yep. This is a world that never got past that. So
yeah, well, like you said, it's early on in their telecom, so I think whether we keep it like it's an actual period piece or it's just this is where telecommunications are in this particular reality.
I just love that it's only telecommunications here. Every other technology has gone further forward.
It's gone further ahead. Yeah.
Just not telecommunications.
There are iPhones, but you have to like plug them in. Big chunky plug. Touch screens, all that jazz, but to actually make a call.
To actually make a call, you have to actually plug it in, and it's because they're not allowed to do wireless, like...
This is the thing. It's because this is the only way that the justices can keep control, is that it has to go all through the switchboard.
So anytime that you want to make a call, you get somewhere, you plug your iPhone in with the big chunky cable. Like,
clunk. Yep.
Clunk. And
big, whatever it
massive
is,
copper coming out the bottom of it. And that dials you into the telecommunication system.
I like that.
Oh, there's something satisfying, especially if you get the clunk.
Yeah, that connection there, and just the fact that everyone's just
used to this.
Those cables hanging out of their walls at various points to plug in their mobile phones when they want to make a call. Yeah.
Oh, what I love is, around the house, like there are some like new systems that you can get in which you can, hook into above, and you can just walk through your house, and it's like your hands-free system.
It's got like a trail.
It's got a trail that you're dragging, and because it's connected, it's fine.
There's one for cars as well. It's like tram line.
Exactly. You've got Dodgem cars.
Yeah, basically connected to a grid across the city so that you can have a phone in your car.
So you can go hands-free, and it's like, the idea is that you actually hook it onto your, like, you got a harness on your face that just hooks up to the thing. It's hands-free, so you can...
Oh man! All right. So who do you, are you playing one of the justices in this world, or are you someone who lives in the world?
I think again you're playing Susan. You're playing Susan. She's the latest Telecom Justice.
Okay. She's being onboarded, and so one of the first things she learns is all about the switchboard and why we use the switchboard and the mystical powers that come with this. Like, you can listen in on any conversation, and you can, in fact, your job is to listen into, you've been assigned these numbers. Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. You've almost got like a neighborhood or a particular area. And you have to look up the numbers for the different people. I like this as a bit of a, I'm trying to think of similar games, but as, a bit of a narrative puzzly sort of thing, where
kind of an Orwell, even, like a
where you hear, someone reference someone else and something they're doing. It's like, oh shit, okay, you got to go look up their number. You can hook up your thing into their system. It's like, okay, now you're listening to their phones. And you can have like multiple ones that you're listening to simultaneously, so you can be like monitoring this one, confirm that this is who they're talking to by hooking up to both. You get both sides of the conversation, like you get the conversation doubled up or something.
But because you've only got a certain number of numbers that you can actually within your block,
yes,
if you extrapolate it out, like, you're one of many upon many of these Telecom Justices.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. There's thousands.
Yeah. Ooh, what I like is, the first day that you're there, you've only got, one or two slots in there, and as you get better, you get more slots to listen to until finally, you're sort of having to juggle 13 conversations all at once, sort of thing. And I mean, not all these conversations are going to be continually talking either, until you realize that there's an override that you can do.
Oh.
And it turns the phone, if they're plugged in, it becomes a listening device.
Oh, okay. So they don't even have to be on a call.
Yep.
Yep.
If they're connected to the network.
Yep. Then you can activate it.
What if, and this is me throwing some stuff out there.
Okay.
What if you come across this one conversation and these people go, hang on a second, I feel like there's someone listening in. I'm just going to go off the grid for a little bit. And they unplug.
Right.
And of course, they're talking within this room, and you're all of a sudden like, hang on, that sounds rather ominous. And they come back after a while, and it's like, so that's the plan. And over time, you tell your boss, he goes, okay, that button that we told you never to push? when you're next connected, I want you to push it. And it activates a secret hands-free mode for that phone, which actually turns on wireless.
Oh, it takes it off of airplane mode.
Effectively.
Yeah. Okay, so it actually enables wireless.
For that one phone.
For that one phone. Right, no one else has this,
but
knows this technology exists, basically.
But the thing is, everyone knows that this technology used to exist, but they were always told that, after the airwaves war or whatever it is, like,
well, or just they convinced the justices, or whoever corporation the justices work for, convinced everyone that it causes cancer or whatever, like that it's actually really dangerous for human beings, and they shut all of the wireless down.
Yeah. What is the real reason?
They didn't.
What is the real reason? Why did they not? So that they could actually listen in a lot easier. Because
I think the
airwaves got a little bit too noisy when they were all on wireless mode.
They it's easier for them to control if people have to be connected.
Yeah.
and have to be plugged in. And so they still have these wireless, base stations around ready for when they need, in an emergency, to really listen in.
I love the idea of being able to switch on video. So they've got a smartphone there, so you switch on video and it sends through picture of
Some of the
times it's not great because all you see is an ear.
Well, what I was going to say, maybe rather than video, just because obviously that would be very difficult for the game as a whole, but also just to sort of add to it a bit, maybe it's that you can just take a picture.
Oh, yeah.
So you just you get a sense of what's going on there, but you're not necessarily seeing a full feed.
Okay. Bit of a brainwave here.
Okay.
One of the most identifying things about people is their ear print. Because quite often that's when they're putting it up to their ear, so you can tell who's talking based on their ear print.
Right, it identifies based on their ear print.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, I like that. And so basically you've got all this technology at your fingertips, and I think initially you're obviously tasked just to report anything suspicious. Maybe there's certain topics that you're told to watch out for.
Oh, kind of like a Papers, Please sort of thing.
This is feeling a little bit like a Papers, Please, where initially you've just got some very basic things and you listen through the day and you can connect to different things. And you might, depending on when you connect them, there's some Easter eggs or different narrative through lines that you may or may not kind of catch or follow up on.
Oh, each day, if you've got 13 different phones that you're listening to and... you happen to have 3 calls happen at the same time. You got to sort of be able to switch between, which parts actually happening.
It could be interesting to literally just have, essentially, every day we'll have the calls that happen that day, and they'll play out regardless. And there could be whole storylines that you're just not seeing because you're not connecting at the right time.
Exactly.
But we have enough content in there between the different lines that you'll see something happening.
Sometimes you're only going to get one. Sometimes you're only going to get one phone call happening at a time, and you'll hear that.
Yeah, and you'll know. Yeah.
But what if after a while you could actually, set one going into your left ear, set one going into your right ear, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, well, again, in that Papers, Please way, starting to add new tools. Once you get used to that basic thing, it's okay, now you've got ways, to listen to different calls in different ears, so you can actually monitor more things at once, but obviously the cognitive load gets higher.
Physically.
Actually in your own, yes.
Actually in your own head, being able to tune into one, tune into the other.
Yeah. And you've got a little balance dial. You can go back between the two sides if you want to make one a bit louder and focus on it for a bit. Or maybe you just have to unplug that ear or whatever. Maybe it is that physical thing.
I do like the idea of having to, plug it into the recording thing, and then, if you want to record something, it has to actually go into the recording thing, and there's only one output from that, so...
Oh, you can only record one at a time.
Yeah.
So it's oh shit, they're starting to talk about stuff. Make sure that's the one that's being recorded.
Yeah.
You still can hear it at the same time, obviously.
Yeah.
You've got an output from it.
But the idea of being able to then later on to build up some splitters that you can, combine these two into the one input, so you can actually record two conversations at once. And
well, and I like I said, that each day there's the different things that are playing out, and I think some of them are relatively low stakes. People are gossiping, or someone did do something that was against the rules, but so they're going to end up punished or whatever. But if you listen in on the right ones, and I think maybe to even get to some of this higher stake stuff, you have to have listened into the right ones to find out some new numbers, or to add some numbers to your list that you can monitor. There's nefarious shit going down where they're trying to bring down the
end of each day
justices. Yeah.
Number lottery.
Okay.
So if you've heard certain numbers, you can bid for numbers that you've
heard about.
Yeah.
As to whether you are the one to be monitoring them.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
The idea of, I saw that number. So you can actually go, I've been listening to some chatter. I'd like to check out that number, and it's sort of like
because it might be related or whatever. Like you essentially run it up the flagpole to say, hey, I actually want this number added to my pool because I think they're talking to people in my neighborhood or whatever. About
and that's how you get
to monitor
new numbers added to your pool. That there's sort of like a list of numbers that you can request. There's a list of random numbers that sort of get assigned to you each day, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
cool. Obviously, probably a prohibitive amount of content to actually create for a game, in a lot of ways. But I mean, not necessarily. I guess you could write enough, and then, like you said, it's not like they're all going at once all the time.
And quite honestly, you could write, the actual story that you want to tell. You could write all that, and then generate the rest of it from, a ChatGPT or something like
maybe,
that. Like,
if it depends on.
Talk about horses for 3 minutes.
I guess that's true.
Give me a conversation between two old biddies, talking about lesbian sex. Make it so you really want people to be listening to it.
You'd end up with I feel like you'd end up with the equivalent of, how in old adventure games and stuff, if something was going to be clickable or movable, it looked a little bit different and stood out a bit.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd end up with the audio equivalent of that, where you tune into one and you're like, oh, I think this is an AI voice. Like, I think this, or like just that the conversation is like, this sounds like an AI wrote this versus, oh, hang on, this one sounds actually authored and recorded by a human. I'm going to listen in on this one. Sort of metagaming.
As you're playing through it, it's like we scattered a few of the really good pieces, but we got ChatGPT to rewrite it. Make this sound like an AI wrote it.
And also, just to put you off track, we actually had 2 people record the old women lesbian sex conversation. Oh boy. All right. I think that's the end of another episode.
Telecom Justices. Fucking
that was good.
Love
though.
it.
I like that
that
world building stuff there.
And there's a game there. Like I can see the game.
Well, and it's similar. There's been similar games. Like there's that broadcast. What is it? Safe for broadcast or something, or fit for broad. Anyway, there's one there where you literally are in a broadcast booth. Mm-hmm. Having to cut between cameras and different things, and they've recorded all the content and stuff. Safe for broadcast, I think it's called. Anyway.
Cool.
But yes, that's the end of the episode. If you would like to find the rest of our episodes online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Check them out, leave us a review, and let us know whose conversations you'd listen in on as a Telecom Justice.
If you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kuradust. Find it at kuradust.bandcamp.com for free.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm a nasty man honey bee killer. Nasty med bee killer.